Brian, with goal mapping. You have an extensive career as a speaker and author, and today you're here to talk to us about mapping the future that we want and how to do that. And I think for our young people today and all those that are listening, because the truth of the matter is we change careers and our goals throughout our lives. So I'm really excited to have you here and get us started on that road of mapping our goals. So thank you and welcome, Brian.
Yeah, thank you. Really, really nice to be with you. I've been sharing goal mapping and helping people to map their goals and their lives for a long time now, 25 years. And goal mapping has now reached and helped around 5 million people in the world. It's helping people in a lot of different areas of life. So we have business people using goal mapping being used by young people in education, sports people using goal mapping. So I'll show a short presentation, if that's good for everyone, that
that would be great.
More than just the words alone. So let me see if the screen share is going to cooperate.
Beautiful, we can see it.
Okay, and the presentation, of course, available for people if they want to view it separately. So some of the more famous organizations using goal mapping are people like Microsoft, Barclays Bank, Siemens, Disney, Coca-Cola, Lego, just a couple of years ago using goal mapping with their managers. And in business, goal mapping helping people find the work they love to do and, of course, to achieve targets and complete projects. My great passion has been helping young people. I never expected that goal mapping would reach so many different types of people. Katalin Konya here is a world champion kickboxer 3 years in a row. Her passion is helping to empower young women to pursue their dreams, find their career. She's become one of the certified trainers of the system, helping young women find their ideal employment with goal mapping. And goal mapping is being used in primary school, secondary school, university, graduate programs in many different countries. So this is a group of Swedish school children, and you can see them there holding up their goal maps that they've created to achieve greater grades. Many schools saying as much as 20% or more increase on pass grade average. Also helping the students be clear on what they want to do for the future. Here, a presentation on goal mapping for one of the schools in Nigeria, and being with you today has come, I know, from the recommendation of Felix, one of your members in Nigeria, who's also been doing some amazing work with goal mapping, helping young people in his country. He's even produced his own book now around goal mapping. And so, been a lot of media reports on goal mapping over the years. Here's an article from CNN about using goal mapping to advance your career. Even the top life coaches in the world, such as Anthony Robbins, have endorsed the system, saying how effective it is for sustainable success and not just once-off goals. So this is what a goal map looks like. And what is distinct and unique about a goal map is it has this balanced combination of words and pictures. The words of the goal map are really focused for your conscious mind so that you can be clear and precise about your objectives and desires. And then the imagery of the goal map, equally as important, and it's more to activate and stimulate your creative mind, and through the imagery to command your subconscious to move you towards the achievement of your desires and goals. And it's really in activating both sides of your brain. The left brain is more logical and uses words to think with. The right brain is more creative and uses pictures. And it's this right brain with the pictures that has the deeper connection to our subconscious, which is like our own little personal autopilot, that if we program our subconscious, it helps us achieve our goals. This is why athletes use visualization. And there are many athletes that have used goal mapping, and they say that creating a goal map helps them to capture their visualization, helps them to be the best that they can be. And many people using this now in different ways, different areas of their life. And so in the middle of the map, we have a main goal. And then on either side, we have other goals. These can all be from different areas of our life, or they could all be focused on one area, such as the results we would like to achieve in a study area, such as a maths or a language, chemistry, biology, geography. At the top of the map are the reasons why we want to achieve the goals, the motivating reasons. And we are motivated by emotion much more than logic. So the more emotional the reason, the deeper the motivation, the more power it gives us to move forward and achieve our goals. And then when, because without a date, it's not really a goal. It's a wish, it's an aspiration. But as soon as we put a date, we start to make it more measurable and specific. And it also allows us to have then a plan. So what are the major actions, the things we need to do to move towards the goal? And then finally, step 7, who? Whose help do we desire or require? And these can be friends and family, and of course our teachers and mentors, and sometimes other experts that we may need to go to, or even the name of a course we're going to take. That helps us to engage in the action and move towards the achievement of the goal. 7 simple steps. Now, my own life has been a little bit unusual. I was born into a traveling family. This is my great-grandfather and grandmother with my father, my uncle, my aunt, all sat on their traveling wagon. And on both sides of my family, I'm related to circus people. And I was born into a life where we would travel and take the funfair equipment to carnivals. This is my father's funfair. This picture was taken the year I was born. And so growing up, I was constantly moving with the funfair and the carnival. I never went to school very much. I have dyslexia, so I found traditional learning to be quite difficult. I left education at 13. I dropped out of school at 13, which is actually normal for the community, the gypsy community that I was born into. And I never learned to read and write properly. I had no qualifications, of course. I had some success in my life working with my father and the fun fairs, but at age 29, my life was in a very challenging situation, very difficult situation. I was in a great deal of debt, more than $1 million in debt. My home had been repossessed. I had no qualifications at that age. I was unemployed, and my marriage had ended. And my life was looking very dark. I was very scared. I didn't really know what I would do. And of course, couldn't read and write either at age 29. And the turning point for me in my life is that I was introduced to positive thinking and the science of positive thinking. And it's a very simple science, but it's a very powerful thing if you understand it. And I learned how to set goals in a meaningful, structured way. And one of the very first goals I set was to teach myself to read well. It started with this one statement, quite a famous statement from Henry Ford. If you think you can, you can, and if you think you can't, you can't. Now, I had heard this statement before. Many people have heard this statement before. I expect many of the people viewing the presentation here will have heard the statement before. What was new for me on this day when I sat in my first personal development workshop is that the man who was teaching this information was helping me to understand that there is a science that is behind this saying. Because I'd heard the saying, but I just thought it was somebody's opinion, like be happy, be positive. It was when I learned the simple science that it made sense for me, and everything started to change as I used it, as I applied it to my life. Inside of our brain, my brain, your brain, everybody's brain, we all have many brain cells. The estimate is we have 100 billion brain cells. Each one of our 100 billion brain cells, or neurons, which is represented here in the diagram by the black dot, the brain cell grows these arms and branches, which are called dendrites, and a little wiggly tail, which is shown here in blue, which is called an axon. When you have a thought, your thought starts as a little spark. It's like an electrical impulse in the middle of the brain cell, and it travels out along the dendrite arms, and it wants to make a connection with another arm. So you can create a pattern of thought. But there's a small gap. It separates all of the arms and branches. It's called the Synaptic Gap. And here's the really important thing to understand. If the thoughts you choose to think is positive, and I am emphasizing each of the words because they're all important. If the thought you choose to think is positive, and maybe you're having a difficult day, things are not really going your way, something happens in your day that doesn't please you, and maybe you have an impulsive, instant negative reaction, lose your temper, or someone's rude to you. Within a moment, it is a choice. You can choose to stay focused on what is wrong and be angry, or you can choose with free will to work with your mind and hold a positive thought and look for what can be right, what you can learn from the situation, what you can change, what is in your influence. If you choose a positive thought, that positive thought starts in the middle of the brain cell. It travels out along the arms and branches, and it stimulates the release of a chemical into your brain and body called serotonin. And serotonin is the happy chemical. This is the chemical that is released into our brain and body if people are taking an antidepressant drug, such as Prozac. If we learn to train our brain by learning the simple science of positive thinking, we can actually naturally release the serotonin. You can try it for yourself. If you close your eyes, maybe, if you focus on something very positive that's happened for you, maybe recently or maybe years ago, or something positive that you believe is coming, as you hold that positive thought, within a few moments, you release serotonin and you start to feel happy. Feeling happy doesn't really happen by accident. And sometimes just a happy thing comes in our life, but it's not really the thing, it's our thoughts about the thing. And if you think a positive thought, it releases the serotonin and it helps you to have a happy feeling. The next important thing with serotonin, it's something that many people don't really understand, is that as well as giving us a good feeling, serotonin is also a neuroconductor. It joins the brain cells together. It creates cohesiveness in the brain. And so when we have a positive thought, we release the serotonin, we get a good feeling, and we make a connection between the brain cells. And when we make the connection, it's like having that moment where the brain cell connection allows the thought to continue on its journey, and we build up this positive pattern of thought. And it's this joining of the brain cells, this light bulb moment, where we suddenly have that breakthrough idea. We find our answer to our problem. We have the light bulb moment where we see, oh yeah, I can do this. Not only do we get the idea, but through the release of the serotonin, we feel good. It gives us a motivation, an inspiration that helps us to face our fears and perhaps take a step forward outside of our comfort zone into the unknown, try something new, and to move forwards in our life. As Henry Ford said, if you think you can, Well, you probably will. Because in thinking you can, you start the brain cell connection and you release the serotonin that gives you a good feeling. It helps you find the idea, and it also helps you find the motivation to step forward and try that idea. When we have that positive thought, the brain cells join, and then afterwards they also separate again. And this is why it's so important to learn how to set goals in a powerful way. Because every time we set a goal and then we think about the goal afterwards, it helps to re-establish the brain cell connection. And the more that our brain cells fire together, the more they wire together. And as we form and establish the brain cell connection, and it takes a few days of reminding ourselves, yes, I'm going to do this, and telling ourselves, yeah, I'm going to achieve it. And we picture in our mind achieving our goal. And as we do that over some days, the brain cell connection becomes established and we form a belief. All the beliefs we have about ourselves and our life and our ability and whether it's good or bad or right and wrong, all of our beliefs are simply established connections between two or more brain cells. And we can make new beliefs at any time, at any age. And we can also break down old beliefs that are maybe not quite right for us. Because sometimes when we're young especially, we form beliefs that we're not good enough or we're stupid or we can't do something. And the belief isn't really true, but because we've been thinking the same thought over and over, maybe we've heard some things from the people around us, friends and family and other people at school or in our life. Sometimes we create some beliefs that we can't do something, and that actually holds us back. And our thoughts gradually become connected, and the more connections we make in our brain, the more it helps us to use both sides of our brain. Our right brain is really good at vision and imagination and creativity. And so with the right side of our brain, we can look forwards and we can imagine a good future for ourselves. Equally important, we use the left side of our brain. They're like two muscles. And we need the left brain because the left brain is good at strategy and making a plan. So we can be really effective when we're taking action. And if you look at the most brilliant people that have ever lived throughout history and those that are walking the planet today, they have this brain balance. It's an iterative balance. So the right brain and the left brain are always interacting and like two people sharing ideas and having a communication. And the more this interactive balance, the more it gives us a high level of thought. We have great ideas, and we also have the motivation and a plan to step forward and do something with our ideas. And so if we're thinking we can, we probably will. By thinking we can, not only do we get the ideas, but it releases the chemical serotonin and oxytocin that gives us a really good feeling. It helps us to have a better self-esteem, better self-confidence, and it also empowers our behavior. It lifts our physiology. It helps us to have a stronger immune system, a greater level of well-being, as well as to be more focused and powerful within our actions. And as we bring all of that together, it helps us to be our best and do our best, feel our best, and of course, live our best life. If you are thinking you cannot do something, if you're telling yourself, oh, I can't do it, if you're picturing in your mind that you can't do it, then the negative thought is releasing a different chemical, cortisol. And cortisol is the chemical that gives us a feeling of sadness and depression and fear. It is a neuroinhibitor. That means that the more negative we become, the more our brain closes down. It was a very important thing thousands of years ago when we needed to survive being attacked by wild animals. If we were walking through the forest and a big hungry bear jumped out and wanted to eat us for lunch, and we needed to go into fight or flight motivation. And so our brain and our body would release lots of cortisol. The cortisol would give us the feeling of fear, so we took more care. And cortisol is a chemical messenger. It tells your digestion to stop. It tells your lymph system, which cleans your body, to switch off. It switches off your immune system, which keeps you healthy, and it closes down whole areas of your brain so that your brain focuses on the problem, which looks bigger and bigger, and all the energy that is saved by shutting down your secondary systems is sent to your muscles so you can fight or flight, run away really fast and survive the danger. And for thousands and thousands of years, this fight or flight fear response protected people really good. In modern life, it doesn't work so well, because in modern life, the dangers we are facing are very different. There is not often a hungry bear that wants to eat us for lunch. There is more often a worry in our mind. We are worried maybe we won't get such good grades, and maybe we won't get that employment we want in the future, and maybe we won't be able to have a good life or to have a family or to do the things we want to do. And your brain doesn't know the difference between a real danger, like a hungry animal that wants to eat you, or a worry. And when you worry, you release lots of cortisol, but you're not running away from any danger, because there isn't a danger to run away from. And your body is only designed to be in the fear response a short time. And when you run away, and you run fast and you climb a tree to escape the hungry bear, you're actually burning off the cortisol. And through the exercise, you release serotonin, it balances your brain. But when you are sitting and you are worrying, you're not moving your body enough to use the cortisol. And it sends your body into stress, and it starts to make people unwell. And this is where the doctors made the link some years ago between prolonged stress and serious illness. This is why you will hear athletes talk about how good they feel when they exercise. Because when an athlete is exercising, they are burning any cortisol through their exercise, and they're also releasing serotonin. And this is why now medical people more and more are recommending that exercise is some of the best medicine we can have. And so when we go into fear, everything closes down, and it's okay for a little while. But if we sit too long worrying and being fearful, and then we start to pick up colds and flus and more serious illness. And to make things worse, the cortisol stops the spread of thought in our brain. And the more negative we become, the bigger the problem looks in our mind. And so the answer to life's modern problems really is to learn how to set goals. Because by setting the goals, we're making the connections in our brain that help us to use the whole of our brain. And it was learning to set goals that also helped me to learn how to read and to learn how to start to change some of the things in my life that were not working well for me. The more connections we make, the more we're able to work with the logical left brain as well as the creative right brain. And the goal-setting system of goal mapping works particularly well because it uses a combination of words and pictures. Words for the left brain and the conscious mind, pictures for the right brain, which influence the subconscious mind. When I'm presenting this information to help very young people, I use the analogy that the subconscious mind is like a magical genie. It can do the most amazing things which the doctors still don't understand. It's like having your own personal autopilot. You can give the genie a command and the genie helps make it happen. Genies can help your wishes come true. But the genie cannot wish for you. You must command the genie. And the way that you command your subconscious genie, the way that you rub your magic lamp, is by holding a thought in your conscious mind of what you want. The more you're able to think about what you want consistently in your conscious mind, the more it commands your subconscious to move you towards it. This is why people are now using visualization more and more to help them be at their best. By visualizing what they want to achieve, their subconscious moves them towards it. If a person is thinking about what they don't want, then the subconscious genie gets confused and actually moves them towards what they don't want. And this is something that sports people have learnt because it's called self-sabotage. And even with the top sports people in the world, if they start to worry about things going wrong, it really affects their performance. And so in lots of the presentations I'm making with students in education, before they go into the exam room, I'm asking them to think about what they want to achieve in their exams, to visualize it really, really strongly just before they go into the exam room. So they're sending a powerful picture command to their subconscious genie to help them be their best, remember all the information they've studied, and to achieve their best results in their exam. Goal mapping helps this to happen in a really good way because of the words and pictures. My big goal is to help 7 million people. And so far, it's about 5 million people. And I started in 1995, so more than 25 years now. And this is one of the maps, one of the goal maps that I've created to help me achieve my big goal. And in the goal map, I'm showing how many people I want to help right in the center. And then on the side goals, I'm showing where I want to help people. I want to help people of all ages with their well-being, helping families to be better together, helping people in business, helping students in education. At the top of the map, I've got my reasons why, and then I've got a start date and a finish date, and you can see I've got a target of 2023, and then how I'm going to do it with books and videos, an online program, giving seminars, and now there are lots of people around the world in schools and businesses and life coaches and sports coaches and diet coaches and therapists of all types that are also teaching the system and helping many people. You can do your goal map for absolutely free. You can do it on paper, or you can use the online software. There's also lots of free other tools, and there's free video and many things you can do to help you create that brain balance and command your subconscious and to be at your very best. And so you can register. Your information won't be shared with anybody else. When you register, it will take you into the program so that you can move through the 7 steps of creating your goal map. The very first step starts with the right brain, and it's to have a little daydream, a visualization of the future you would like to live, or maybe just a single specific thing that you want to achieve. And then the second step is to work with your left logical brain to work out what's the priority. And there may be many things you want to achieve, and you may want them all equally. And normally there will be just one thing logically that by achieving that one thing most helps you to achieve some of the other things. And so that becomes your logical main goal. And then it's time to map them out. And you can do this on paper or online, and you start to create your goals by either drawing the goals on paper or using images that you can put up from your mobile phone or download from the internet or use off the system. By creating the goals in words and pictures, you start to activate both sides of your brain. And then step 4, what are your strongest emotional motivating reasons? Why do you absolutely want to achieve your goals? And by getting really connected to your strongest emotions of why you want to achieve your goals, it gives you great power and a really deep command to your subconscious mind. And then when? When do you want to achieve your goals by? And all of the goals may have slightly different dates. And so stay focused on identifying a date for your main goal, because by achieving that main goal, you help the other goals fall into place. And then how? Step 6. What are the major actions you will need to take to move along a path towards the achievement of your main goal? And if it's a really big goal, then there may be hundreds of actions you need to take. But we don't want to be overwhelmed with too much detail. And so you just want to put in the main actions, and then you can always create more goal maps to go into another level of detail. Or you can use the online system to create an action plan and to-do list. And then the final step, step 7, who? Whose help do you desire or require to help you move towards your goals? And so we have the how on one side of the map, and we have the who on the other side of the map. Who is going to help you take the action, move along the path, achieve the goals? Sometimes the who is family and friends or teachers, professionals. Sometimes the who is you. It's you as a person. And when the who is you, the most powerful thing to do is to think, okay, which way of me? So being motivated, being inspired, which way will I need to be to take the action to move towards my goal? And here on the screen, you can see a goal map created by the Italian tourist department. And in Italy, they use goal mapping in many different areas of Italy to help attract more tourists there. There are so many different ways that people use goal mapping to achieve different things in their life. Here is one of my goal maps. The main goal in the center, me being at peace with myself and the world. This is a goal map more around my purpose. You can see here I have a picture of my own children, and we're skiing together. And I have different goals for different areas of my life and how I plan to make a difference in my own life and to others. And this map created using the online system, and I'm using a combination of pictures from the internet, some pictures that I've drawn myself at the top of the map because I like to draw sometimes, and also pictures from my mobile phone, like the ones of my children skiing in Italy. A big business will use goal mapping. Here is a goal map from the senior team of Microsoft in the United Kingdom. There was a huge project with Microsoft and goal mapping a few years ago. More than 70,000 people from Microsoft all creating goal maps for their work. 40,000 people from British Telecom creating goal maps for their work. Thousands of people from Siemens and Disney and Coca-Cola. So big business using goal map as well as smaller businesses. But my real passion over many years, of course, has been helping students to use goal mapping. I had such a difficult time in my own education because of the life I was born into, traveling around with the fun fairs, carnivals and circuses, and also the dyslexia, which was a real barrier for me. And so learning the simple science of positive thinking helped me in so many ways. And then learning how to capture those positive thoughts by setting a goal become life-changing. And just in the last few minutes before we give some time for questions, I just show here the goal mapping website. So here is one of my goal maps on the goal mapping website. I can zoom out a little so people can see the map more clearly. When you have a digital goal map, like I have here, there are many things you can do that are not possible on paper. I can choose how I see the goal map, so side by side, or I can combine the words and pictures, or just words. I can easily share the map. I can create a team of people to share the map with. And these red buttons are all different teams that I belong to and where we share maps. I can generate an image, I can download the map, I can email it, I can print it. I can also watch video from the goal mapping workshop. And here on the island, this is a map of the island where I live in the south of England on the Isle of Wight. So it's a little map of the Isle of Wight. Each dot on the island is a piece of video from the goal mapping workshop. People can come and they can watch the video for free if they wish to. And as the video progresses, there's a PowerPoint presentation that people can watch. And at the end of each video, people are given a choice to watch the next video, or they can go and create their map. And I really recommend that people go and create their map as soon as they feel inspired to do it, because it is really in creating the map that you also create the brain cell connections. And listening to me talk about it, watching me show it on PowerPoint presentation will not create the brain cell connections in a strong way. You going and creating your map on paper or online is what will help you create those strong brain cell connections. The reason why I love the online of goal mapping so much is that you can go to any of your maps, you can have many of course, and you can update your map with new information. I can go to any of the steps of my map, I can add new pictures, I can change things around, I can put in more detail. If I haven't achieved my map by the date, and give a little more time, and that way my map comes alive. If I have my map on paper, I like it on paper. In fact, when I create my maps online, I always print them. So I've got one of my online maps printed here. When I draw my maps on paper, and I have one of my paper draw maps here, and I really like it. I drew this map in 2016, and this was a map I drew to help me get clear and create the online program. And so I really like this map, but now that I've drawn it, it's fixed. If I want to make a change, I've got to draw a new map. And there's only the pictures here, not the words. But with the online map, a few clicks of the button, and I can make a change, I can update it. And this is why more and more schools in England now are using the online goal mapping, because a student can share their goal map with their tutor can give feedback, and then the student can update the map as they have new insights. And the students are often here in England having several maps for different subjects, different aspirations they want to achieve. And because many businesses are also using goal map, a lot of students, when they're going for their interview, are taking their maps with them to show what their aspirations are in life. Here on the online program, you can also download resources such as the workbook pages that synchronize with the video. You can create a to-do list. There is an online journal you can use. We have life coaches that can give advice. And we even have a life balance exercise where you can find which areas of your life are most important to set goals. And for younger people, we have a family goal mapping area. My audio book is absolutely free. It's my best-selling book, Sam the Magic Genie. And it's about a young boy who's a little sad, his self-esteem is low, and a genie takes him on a magical carpet ride inside of his mind to help him to understand how his thoughts turn into feelings and start to influence the results in his life. And for the bigger people that have little people of their own, we also have Goal Mapping Parents book. Again, it's absolutely free. It's also a book that teachers and coaches use in conjunction with the principal templates or the online program to help the people they care about to achieve their goals and to learn the skill of goal setting. Goal setting is maybe one of the most important life skills we can learn, because learning how to set goals is a skill that helps us achieve other skills, gain other knowledge, and it is lifelong. And once we learn how to set goals in a powerful way, it's something we can use for the rest of our life, and we can use it, of course, in every area of our life. As we finish for questions, I just want to leave everyone with the essence of the teaching, because I know there's a lot of information that I just shared, and the essence is very simple. Think your best thoughts. If you think your best thoughts, it releases the serotonin that helps you to feel your best feelings. That influences you into taking your best actions, and through the law of cause and effect, the law of creation, we create our best results. We live our best life. Create your goal map, and it helps you to hold on to your best thoughts. So you're feeling your best feelings more often, doing your best, and achieving your best. Just going to come off the presentation.
Okay.
And
amazing. You know what I love is that the way that you can go into depth on the online platform to even making lists and taking those goals and breaking them down, which leads me to two questions that I have and one comment, if I can get it started, because I've been holding on tight. My first comment is, I love the way that I love the drawings. I think that it starts a young mind, even before language starts, into developing this skill, which is fabulous. And the other thing that I believe happens when you draw or you're writing it down and you're doing that physical action with your hand, is there's something that happens with the brain when you're actually physically honing in on it, whether it's through a drawing or through the words. And I think that can make a really powerful connection. So I loved that. And then you can look back on it, laminate it, paste it up, and constantly have those things like reinforced. And I love that part of it. One question that I had was actually two questions. You've worked with so many people around the world, and I'm curious, what have you found is the most challenging barrier people have when they get started?
With the drawing, the most challenging barrier is some people are thinking, I can't draw.
Yeah.
And that sort of stops them from either drawing their map, or if they draw it, sometimes they're not looking at it afterwards. And that means they're not strengthening the brain cell connections, because the technique is very simple. If you create the map, you create the brain cell connections, but then they separate. And this is why it's important to re-look at the goal, remind yourself, you reconnect the brain cells. And there are different scientific estimates, but most scientists are saying a minimum of 10 days of reminding yourself of your goal. Other scientists are saying 30 days is better. I'm normally choosing 30 days, and that's why my maps are here printed out in my folder. I look at them regularly. My children started creating their first goal maps when they were 4 years old. And they create them for many different things. And they didn't even know what goals were at 4 years old.
Yeah.
They just enjoyed drawing. They saw me drawing my goal maps. They wanted to draw their goal maps. And in the schools, with the younger students, we're always drawing the goal maps on paper. Only as the students are getting older are we then working with the online system, because it's giving some more professional features they can use. Now, the principle with the online system is, and you're quite right, Heather, when you're drawing, there's that strong brain cell stimulation. The neuroscientists that I've spoken to have researched, and there are some universities here in England that have researched the results of goal mapping. And what it's shown is the meaning of the image is the most important thing. So there are different mediums, drawing, pictures. If the picture a person is using is meaningless, if the picture has no meaning for them, it doesn't create any brain cell stimulation.
Yeah.
So choosing strong, meaningful pictures, that is why family pictures work so well, because you have the image of your brother, your sister, your friend, partner is deeply ingrained. So meaningful pictures, meaningful words, when you're drawing or online. And the barrier for some people has been the drawing. And things have improved. In the past, the barrier was some of the corporate people I would work with.
Yeah.
Thought that it was a bit of a strange thing to be doing, to draw their map, or the science of positive thinking. But now it's become very accepted.
Wow. Yeah, and I imagine that my second part of the question, and I agree that the online part is so important because it adds another dimension. It makes it more of a living document because you can change things and modify things as you're establishing goals and then doing those pieces to accomplish them. And so it's more of like a living document for those that are really online savvy, for sure. And I think one thing that also I see as a skill here, and I wanted to know if you agree with this, is the fact that a lot of us who are warriors, and I'm one of them here too, is kind of breaking that barrier of that positive thinking on a continuous basis, because it can become habitual to automatically go into that fight or flight, or a lot of us live in that zone. So I think the skill of being able to, maybe through meditation, or you have ideas of your own to kind of break that barrier of positive thinking, like you said, maybe you have to do it multiple times a day, and have that visualization. So what's your thought on all of that?
I'm recommending people have a little morning ritual where they use a breathing technique like a mudra, and just a simple finger position, and breathe in through the nose and out through the mouth. But that's creating a good brain state, because our brain is operating in different rhythms through the day. And early in the morning, our brain will be in alpha rhythm. And so if we're doing a breathing, then we're just taking a moment and we look at the map. And as we look at the map, we say the words, right brain, left brain. And this process of looking at the pictures and saying the words is actually many thousands of years old. You will find it in all of the ancient religions and philosophies around the world. So in India, it's known as mantra and yantra. Mantra is a chant with the words. A yantra is a power pattern you visualize on. Words are affirmation. We write a statement of what we want. And then the pictures are visualization. And it's this combination of the two that helps to train our brain. And the more that we do it, and whatever your goals are, they will be the things that give you a good feeling. They're the things that you desire. And so if you're starting your day visualizing yourself achieving your goals and telling yourself you will do it, and you're looking at the different aspects of your map, and you have it all on one page. And so you can even have it as a screensaver on your mobile phone, for instance, and it becomes a regular reminder. It becomes a stimulator to make those brain cell connections. And the more you practice it, the stronger it gets for you. And so you're quite right, Heather, you build up that power of positivity and you move yourself out of the negativity, the negative rut that some people get trapped in. And of course, many people fall into a negative belief and a negative attitude, not because they choose that, but because of things they've experienced in their life and maybe the childhood things that have happened to them. And so personal development and positive thinking is the way that we can look at our beliefs and we can ask ourselves, are those beliefs and those feelings and behaviors, are they helping me to enjoy my life and have the best life? Or are there some new ones, some changes I need to make? Many people are using goal mapping to change their habits and their behavior. And that's why goal mapping now is used by a lot of therapists to help people to be different, change things about themselves that they think they would like to change.
Wonderful, thank you. I'm going to open up the floor. We have time for a few more questions out here. I have one from Sandra, and then we have another question up here too. So I'll take your hand first, Mihaela, and then I'll read Sandra's. Go ahead.
Thank you, Heather. Good afternoon, Brian. Good afternoon, Heather and everybody. So Brian, your presentation was very interesting and useful. I feel like going outside and run for a bit, but I'm quarantined for the moment and I cannot, unfortunately. I will do it in some days. I hope so. So my question for you would be, how can you reset after you, let's say, fall right before reaching the top of the mountain? So let's say that you had a goal, a good plan to help achieve it, good motivation, but something outside your control happened, like a traumatic accident, a beloved one dying, losing your job, etc. So what do you do when you are forced to create a new goal, leaving the first one a bit behind? I'm sure you also had your ups and downs in life. So how did you do it?
The thing that I've discovered to be most important in those very difficult situations is to have more than a goal. It is to have a sense of purpose about why you are doing the things you are doing. A purpose is like a goal, but it's bigger. A purpose is different in that a purpose doesn't really have so much an end date. It is more like a path that you are following in life. If you imagine that your purpose is like a path and your goals are like the markers on the path, the points that you aim for, levels of achievement you want to reach, and then your motivation and your goals and your purpose, they all come together. And the key thing is to have a purpose that is bigger than you, a purpose that is about making a difference in the lives of other people. And maybe it's the immediate people around you in your family, and maybe it's the wider people in your life, such as your community. Maybe you have a really big purpose that you're looking to help people nationally, globally. But the bigger the purpose, when the purpose is bigger than you, it really helps you to pick yourself up after a difficult situation and to step forward again on your path, because you feel that sense of duty, a calling, where it's important for you to continue as best you can and make a difference. And one of the things that I'm doing, because I'm often having a difficult time, things are going wrong in my life, there has been some unexpected illness sometimes, or problems in my family, and I'm asking the question, or sometimes I'm not achieving the goal by the date that I would like to achieve it, and I become a little disheartened, disappointed. And I'm simply asking the questions, is this goal a good thing to do or not? And I put my hand on my heart, and if I feel in my heart the answer is yes, this is a good goal, then the next question I'm asking is, okay, so are there some more things I need to learn? Are there some things I need to do differently? Or is it that I'm on the right path and I just need to give more time because this setback has come that I wasn't expecting? And I evaluate with as much honesty as I can. Am I doing the right things, or do I need to change? Are there some new things I need to learn? Is this a good goal to continue with? And if I'm hearing yes with all of those things, then I'm giving more time. When I set the goal, I was 30 years old. I'd only just learned to read, and I set a goal that I was going to write a book, because I was so pleased with myself learning to read. I thought to myself, what is the next thing? Well, I need to learn to write, and not just write, I'm going to write a book. And many people told me I was crazy. Even my own mother told me I was crazy. And she wasn't being negative. She was worried that I would become very hurt and disappointed. And she said, you can't even read or write properly, Brian. You're not going to write a book. It's not going to be published. And yet I've written 4 books, and 2 of them are published by the biggest publisher in the world, Random House. And they've sold thousands and thousands and thousands of copies, and they're in many languages. I wasn't sure I could do it. If I'm really honest, I didn't have total belief, but I decided to step forward, and there were many setbacks, and I needed to reset the goal of writing my book 4 times. Because I would give a date, and I would get to the date of 1 year or more, and I hadn't achieved the goal, and I become really disappointed. But I would question myself, and I would ask, is it a good goal? And I would hear yes. And so I would reset the goal, and I would learn some new things that I needed to learn, and I would keep stepping along the path. And eventually, it took nearly 5 years, but eventually my first book was published. And of course, now that there are many. And so I would say, think about your goal and think about the bigger purpose that your goal serves. And if you are staying focused on that bigger purpose, it really helps us to pull through at the difficult times in life.
Many things. It was inspirational. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, extremely inspiring. And the fact that it's okay to reevaluate and then redo that goal for whatever reason. And that's what makes the online part of it so powerful, is that it makes it really easy to do that too.
Yeah, for sure. And look, for people listening, even the biggest, most powerful organizations in the world, like Microsoft, don't always achieve their goals by the time they said they would like to achieve them. It's just how it is. And so while it is disappointing that we may not achieve the goal by the date we would like, that doesn't mean that we should give up. And sometimes we just need to allow a little more time and learn a few things and do things a little differently.
Yeah. And one of our participants says, just a quick comment for you, Brian. Your story is inspiring and grateful for your knowledge that you shared today. Your goal mapping goes beyond the normal mind mapping. Your system engages both action and uses the left and right part of your brain. With youth watching, this will give them a tremendous advantage as they're growing up and creating their futures and what they want. So this participant is loving it, totally going to sign up and utilize it. So wonderful. Thank you so much for that. Do we have any other questions or comments or ideas from anybody that's on the call today? You can raise your hand, or you can message it in the messenger, or just unmute your mic and go for it. I'll pause for a moment.
I'll add one more thing while maybe people are thinking or somebody is writing, which is that once you have your map, as well as looking at it and saying the words, one of the most empowering things you can do is to share it with other people. Because when you share your goals, what you're actually doing is you are demonstrating belief in yourself. And it can take a little courage to share your goals, because some people can sometimes be a little negative and feels like they're stealing the dream a little. But the more you learn to do it, the more strength you have in yourself. And I would say, if you're new to setting goals or sharing goals, choose, of course, who you share those goals with. It seems like you have a wonderful, positive community here. And I'm sure if people are sharing their goal maps within the community, they're going to receive a lot of encouragement and positive feedback from everyone. And so once you have a map, look at it yourself, say the words, and if you feel brave, share it with others, because when you're sharing the map, you're actually demonstrating to your own subconscious mind your belief in yourself. And you're telling yourself, here is what I'm going to do. This is where I'm going. This is what's important for me in my life.
Yeah, and reinforcing that way of thinking. That brought me to another thought. I know we're almost, our time is almost up here, but one of the things that may be difficult in the process, and I'm guessing here, is especially maybe if you're in a group and if you're maybe in a sharing mode, is maybe the motivations and the reasons behind your goal. I think it takes a lot of self-searching and really having to get to that truth within yourself. And it's easy for us to be motivated by or not really understand why we're motivated. Maybe it's because someone outside told us we had to, or we felt we had to, or whatever. But I think that part of the process would be really challenging, is getting to the root of truly why you want the goal, especially if you're talking about it, because it may be really personal, or maybe you actually don't really know yourself.
Many people come to the goal mapping workshop because they are looking for their purpose. And we call it in the workshop, finding the thing that makes your heart sing. And it's really the most important thing in life, because once you find your purpose in life, you also find your passion and you find your power. And it helps you go the extra distance, not because you have to, but because you want to. And you learn more, not because it's expected of you, but because you are really interested. And you give more, not because there's a bonus or some reward, just because you love to do it. And it helps you to be more in yourself and to feel more fulfilled. And so in the workshop, we spend a lot of time asking people empowering questions, and the questions in turn help them to find their purpose. And you'll find these questions also on the website. They're called 7 Empowering Questions. There's a video in my YouTube channel, and you'll find also the same questions on the website. By answering the questions and looking at your answers, it gives you a pointer to find your path and your purpose, and through that, your power. The goal map helps you find your way along the journey.
That's a beautiful message to end on, and so inspiring. I think if we all could find our purpose and use this goal map as part of that process, we can radiate tenfold, right? In whatever we're doing, for all the reasons what you said. So truly, truly amazing. I hope you can take us up on our invitation and maybe join us live, where we have up to 400 plus students participating in a 10-day academy, where we really get focused on inspiring and helping each other and learning and self-development and all those things. So we hope that you stay connected to us. And thank you so much for being here. To all our participants, whether you're on Facebook or other social media platforms, or you're joining us here on Zoom, we want to thank you so much. And we look forward to our paths crossing again.
Thank you, Heather. You've been a great host.
Have a great day, everybody. Wonderful.
Bye-bye.
Bye.